Welcome back, students. Let's continue with this chapter. The Little Prince. Now I stared at this sudden apparition with my eyes fairly starting out of my head in astonishment. Remember, I had crashed in the desert 1,000 miles from any inhabited region, and yet my little man seemed neither to be straying uncertainly among the sands, nor to be fainting from fatigue or hunger or thirst or fear. Nothing about him gave any suggestion of a child lost in the middle of the desert, 1,000 miles from any human habitation. When at last I was able to speak, I said to him, "But what are you doing here?" So the narrator, he stared at this sudden apparition. Sudden apparition means this unbelievable appearance of a small boy who is there standing in front of the narrator, right, in the desert, 1,000 miles away from any inhabited region, so no settlement there. Okay, and he seemed neither to be straying. Straying means roaming, right, uncertainly among the sands, not to be fainting from fatigue. Fatigue means very tired, neither feeling tired, nor hunger, nor feeling hungry or thirsty or afraid of anything. Okay, and at last, he was able to speak to that child. So he inquired, "What are you doing here?" And what was the answer? And in answer, he repeated very slowly, as if he were speaking of a matter of great consequence, "If you please, draw me a sheep." So when he asked, right, when he inquired to that child, to that little boy, "What are you doing here?" and the reply was the same. He again requested the narrator to draw him a sheep. When a mystery is too overpowering, one dare not disobey. Absurd as it might seem to me, 1,000 miles from any human habitation and in danger of death, I took out of my pocket a sheet of paper and my fountain pen. But then I remembered how my studies had been concentrated on geography, history, arithmetic, and grammar, and I told the little chap, a little crossly too, that I did not know how to draw. He answered me, "That doesn't matter. Draw me a sheep." So the narrator at last, he took out from his pocket a sheet of paper, and his fountain pen, and suddenly he remembered about his studies that had been concentrated on what? On geography, history, arithmetic, and grammar, right? And then he told the child that he do not know at all how to draw. Okay, but the reply was the same. Okay, he again requested the narrator, "Draw me a sheep. It doesn't matter you know or you do not know it, just draw me a sheep." But I had never drawn a sheep, so I drew for him one of the two pictures I had drawn so often. It was that of the boa constrictor from the outside, and I was astounded to hear the little fellow greet it with, "No, no, no, I do not want an elephant inside a boa constrictor. A boa constrictor is a very dangerous creature, and an elephant is very cumbersome. Where I live, everything is very small. What I need is a sheep. Draw me a sheep." So then I made a drawing. Now the narrator, he was really shocked to see the little prince understanding his drawing number 1 without any explanation. He had not expected the little prince would understand, and had shown this drawing out of mere habit. Okay, so the child, he very well understood what the drawing was all about. He understood that it was about a boa constrictor, and then the child further added that boa constrictors are very dangerous creatures. Okay, and an elephant is very cumbersome. Cumbersome means very large, heavy, right? They are large, huge animal. And where the boy lives, there everything is very small. Okay, nothing's that large. everything is very small, and what he needs is just a sheep. So please, so he requests again, please draw me a sheep. Then the narrator draws a sheep for him, and the diagram, the drawing is here given, as you can see. Now he looked at it carefully. Then he said, "No, this sheep is already very sickly. Make me another." So I made another drawing. So now when he drew that picture of a sheep, the boy, he replied that the sheep, it looked very sickly, okay, and requested him to make another drawing for him. So he made another drawing, and the drawing is given here. My friend smiled gently and indulgently. "You see yourself," he said, "that this is not a sheep, this is a ram. It has horns." So then I did my drawing once more. So then the little boy, he gently smiled, and indulgently also means with kindness, okay, and then he asked the narrator to reflect himself as whether that was a sheep at all or not, okay, and then he said that this is not a sheep, rather it is a ram, okay, and with horns. So he again drew one drawing, okay, and the drawing is here, as you can see. This is the drawing that he drew again, but it was rejected too. Just like the others, this one is too old. I want a sheep that will live a long time. By this time my patience was exhausted because I was in a hurry to start taking my engine apart, so I tossed off this drawing. So now what happened? Again he faced the same rejection like the others, okay, just like the others. And what was the comment for this diagram? The little boy said that the sheep here that he has drawn is too old, okay, and he wants a sheep that will live longer, okay. So till now the narrator, he has already drawn 3 sheep and he is tired, okay, out of his patience, exhausted completely, and in a hurry. He is in a hurry, right, to take off his engine, right, to take off his plane, and so he drew this. So he tossed off this drawing. As you can see, a box is here, and I threw out an explanation with it, and he also gave one explanation, okay, with it. And what is that explanation? He said, "This is only his box. The sheep you asked for is inside." I was very surprised to see a light break over the face of my young judge. "That is exactly the way I wanted it. Do you think that this sheep will have to have a great deal of grass?"